Today on News from the Crabby Coffee Shop, we fix your life, we take your emails, and I have discovered who Amy Daniels really is. Let's get started. Hi, dummy.
Hi, moron.
I'm taking today's little program way too seriously because I think I could, and if you want to finally quit your dumb job, I think we could turn this into make a side hustle and a hobby into a full-time money-making gig.
As life coaches?
As life coaches, seriously.
The only note I have about this, because I believe it, is life coaches. Okay, this is how I see us, okay? Yeah. Life coaches whose life's work is dedicated to identifying and avoiding a-holes. That's what I think it is.
That will be perfect.
Yep, and sometimes we are the a-holes, but that's okay. We can't help it. We're trying.
Amy, I've made a living out of it.
I know you have, and that's why I love you the most.
And when I'm not crabby, I get complaints. People
I know.
Purposely, when I'm in a good mood, try to make me angry.
I was in the cafeteria at Hubbard, the infamous Hubbard cafeteria, just paying no attention, minding my own business, getting my lunch.
Yeah.
And I hear a voice from behind me that goes, "Crabby Coffee Shop's not crabby enough."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I'm just trying to eat, man. Yeah. Why are we doing this? Okay.
Yeah. Don't you understand?
Don't you understand? I'm just trying to live my life.
Now, I want you to think about something. Here's my long-term plan. Before we get into what we're going to talk about today, we buy a fast food establishment that has gone under. So they have the drive-through speakers.
Oh, good idea.
And they have the place where you pay.
Like Red Barn or...
Any of them, as long as there's a drive-through lane.
Yep.
And it could be really small. They pull up to the menu board in the speaker and they say briefly what their problem is.
Okay.
We say $5 or $10.
Yep.
Please pull ahead. By the time they get to the window, we tell them we've solved your problem.
We've formulated your answer.
Yeah.
This is kind of like Lucy on Peanuts, right?
It's exactly like that, but it's updated.
But it's updated. It's not you can drive through. It's not a booth stationary like a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
You can drive up. I love your notion that between the first window and the second window,
you have to pay.
You just have to pull out your debit card and we'll have an answer for you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Now think about
great.
this. How many people leave work angry and they get home and they take it out on the cat or the dog or the really, really small child?
Right.
This way, I've solved your problem for you.
That just come by the drive-through.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened that day.
Yeah.
By the time you get to the second window,
we'll have it solved.
And then you can go home and be delightful.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Sweet,
think it's
loving.
a really good idea.
Yeah, I think it is. I know that you specialize in marriage counseling.
Well, after you've been married for, what is it now, 75, 80 years.
Right.
You learn a thing or two.
Right. How long have you been married?
I don't know.
For real?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was either 92, 93, or 94.
Kenny.
And it was either in September or early October.
Does that not bother your wife that you don't even know?
A couple years, my mother-in-law, her mom has actually called us or sent us a text saying, "Happy anniversary." And we both look at each other and go, oh yeah. So I'm not being the bad person
so
here.
So somebody else keeps track.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's like a embroidery picture thing hanging in my bedroom that says the actual date. So I can, it's I don't know, happy marriage and then the date, whatever it is. I'm not sure what it is. So if I need to know, I go into the bedroom and I find that hanging on the wall and there I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds tragic, but
so
okay.
I think we should call this show for, like, if we post it on YouTube, we fixed it for you.
Yeah.
You're familiar with that?
Yep.
That phrase on social.
Love it. Yeah.
So what I did last week, I actually looked up tips for a successful marriage. And frankly, Amy, it was the worst advice I've ever seen.
Seriously.
Oh, it was so stupid. It's all about building trust, showing appreciation, open communication, forgive.
Okay.
It's a team effort. To which I say it's nonsense. So, knowing what I know from my long and happy marriage, I took a few items out. Number one item that they posted on this website: communication is the key. Always strive to express your thoughts and feelings clearly and openly, and actively listen to your partner. And my response to that is, you're 100% wrong. The key is to only talk about things that don't matter, things that you can agree on, like your
what? Like
your
what?
neighbors are idiots.
Okay. Yeah.
Your brothers and sisters, your in-laws, all of those people are idiot. You've got to find something or somebody that you can hate together, and then that will bring you together.
You know what's interesting about that, Kenny, is I kind of agree with you. I don't think a psychologist would.
Oh, well.
But maybe that's not the point. So don't talk about the kids.
No.
Money.
Oh, well, evidently,
What about
you're
money?
going to have.
What about money?
There is a thing about money. The best advice I can give to you about money is to lie. Lie about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so no matter what the topic, did you pay the mortgage? You just say
No, not like that.
Okay.
It's like I need some money because I want to buy some groceries, and I would say, well, I don't have any money. I'm broke.
and you're not.
Well, I'm not saying whether I'm broke or not, but you know what I mean.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What about sex?
Well, I want to get to that. This is a
Okay.
good segue.
I'm sorry, jumping ahead.
One of the things is show appreciation. And they say regularly express gratitude to your partner for the things they do for you. This advice is only good in the bedroom and sometimes in the kitchen.
Okay, expand on that.
Thanks for the nice,
No. No.
It's my turn to.
Whatever that gesture is you just did, and for those people that are watching on YouTube, that's gross. Stop that.
I made you happy last night. It's your turn to make me happy tonight.
Oh, my God, no.
That kind of thing.
Okay.
And you're really good at that. So will you do that again?
Okay. And then the kitchen?
I don't know. The reason I think my wife does most of the cooking is because I'm not good at it. I can make, I made spaghetti on Sunday, but it was, from a jar, threw in some mushrooms, boiled some spaghetti noodles, and, there's a meal. That's about all I can do. Mac and cheese. I can do a grilled cheese.
Okay.
I can't cook. I'm bad at it.
I know this is going to jump off the path that we're on for a sec, but BS. That's what you just told me last week or the week before, that you can, and it's so simple.
What's that?
To take apart and rebuild a carburetor.
Oh, yeah, really.
Or take apart and rebuild an engine.
Right.
But you cannot figure out how to cook? Really?
It's because I've tried to be adventurous and I've made mistakes. I tried making mac and cheese and meatballs.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely horrible. Never try that. I tried turning, I like using cottage cheese as chip dip. So one time I thought, well, I'm going to make the cottage cheese dip better by adding French onion soup. Okay. And I can say never, ever do that.
That sounds horrible.
I had to throw the whole thing away. So I'm adventurous, but I make mistakes and I screw things up. And have you ever noticed when somebody makes a sandwich that it always tastes better than if you would have made the sandwich?
I think any food, that's true. When I cook, I really don't. By the time I put it on the table, I don't want to eat it anymore. I think it's because you're smelling it the whole time or something.
Right.
But the thing is that if you were building a carburetor, you would read instructions. So when you're cooking, are you reading instructions or just making things up?
I'm at the point where I don't read instructions anymore. But I see what you're saying. I've never actually tried opening up a recipe book. There
used to be on the refrigerator, because my mom was the main person that cooked. Essentially, my dad worked. My mom did absolutely positively every single other thing. And I'm not even talking about housework, although that was part of it. but she would cook and whatever. On our refrigerator for years, there was a cartoon, and it was like a dude, and the wife was looking at him, and he like couldn't figure out the vacuum or something.
Right.
And underneath it said, the less you profess to know how to do, the less you have to do.
Right.
And that was aimed at my dad.
Yeah. That's the best advice ever. It's like screwing something up on purpose so you never have to do it again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm good at the crock pot as long as I'm given strict instructions on what I should do. Mm-hmm. If I can get it to where the crock pot is on, then I can forget about it for 6 to 8 hours. I'm golden. Right. But it's the getting it ready and getting it started.
Okay. And I took us off track because I really want to go back to your professional coaching on marriage.
Compromise is necessary. Be willing to meet in the middle and find solutions that work for both of you when disagreements arise. And my answer to that is the best compromise is to never compromise and do everything separately. Together, but apart.
Okay.
And I can tell you what I mean by that. Separate living rooms, separate TVs, separate bedrooms, definitely. That should have been first. If you ever want to get a night's sleep after you've been married for, 6 months, get another bed, get a different bedroom, and you'll thank me later. Separate vacations.
Okay.
Have you ever done that? That's amazing.
Oh, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
The problem here, Kenny, with me trying to even begin, which I'm not going to provide too much counterpoint to you, is that I was married for like 9 years, got divorced, and that was 17 decades ago. Yeah. And I never want to be married again. So I'm not even good at it. Like separate bedrooms, of course. If I was in a relationship, they would have to live in a different house.
Well,
go away.
We're in agreement here, then.
Absolutely. I can't argue with any of this.
Did you ever go to family events in separate cars?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, we do that constantly because it's always me that wants to leave early. One of the happiest periods of my life was when we had separate shifts. She worked a day shift and I worked third shift overnight. That was awesome.
So you never saw each other.
Right. The more time, and I think you'll agree, the more time you spend apart, the better the relationship will be.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, I'm going to say something. I kind of think since marriages fail at the rate of 50%, by the way, I'm going to preface this by saying if my mom and dad were married for almost 60 years and it was an amazing thing to watch, but they had their good periods, their bad periods. In the end, they stayed together and they were truly friends. I think that human beings maybe weren't meant to cohabitate and be together 24 hours a day. That's what I think.
That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I really don't think we're meant for it. And I think that's why we get divorced.
Yeah.
Because people just get on your... I mean, honestly, it's not because I wouldn't like someone, but if I was in a relationship with someone, the hardest part is getting up in the morning and going, oh, you're here again.
Right.
Like, you're here. You're still here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they feel that way about me. Like, go away for a while.
When my roommate has to get up early and be to work at 7 a.m., she always waits till she hears me close the door and walk out of the house at 5:30 so she doesn't have to deal with me. Now, to me, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
And you don't care, right?
No, because I don't want to talk to anybody.
Right.
And she starts talking about 20 minutes before she wakes up. And then it's just nonstop talking for the whole day.
Right. I know. I get the fact that men in general, like the talking is a problem, right?
Oh,
women are talkers.
Oh, it never stops.
Because I've seen studies where women use thousands and thousands of words a day.
Yeah.
And men use like 300.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah. And that's confounding to us. We don't get it. We really don't understand it. But here's the thing. Would you say that most marriages, not all, but most, and yours specifically, is it a marriage of friendship and like a business partnership? Would you say that's what it is?
No, it's not business. No, and
it's just
I
a
realize,
friendship?
Yeah. It's not an unhappy marriage.
Right.
We're just, we hate the same things and the same people. We like to talk about things we hate. Like hate can really, really make a couple happy as long as they hate together.
As they hate in common.
Right. We're not on opposite sides of the political aisle, so we get along there. We like doing the same dumb things that don't matter, but they're fun. I
actually think that's a recipe for success. I do.
When we first started going out, we would go to a bar together, then go our separate ways, because we had so many different friends.
Right.
And then meet up an hour later and hang out and enjoy the evening.
I love that. I actually kind of love that. I think more people should try it. I think where we go wrong, if I must, again, not the expert, but I think where we go wrong is thinking that one person is going to fulfill all your needs, because that's never true.
Right.
Never.
Right. So we did receive, I'll be honest, we only received one email asking for advice, marriage advice. And then we received something on Twitter from a friend, Josh, who wants advice on how to deal with idiots.
Well, should we take a break and then we'll do that on the other side?
Definitely.
Okay, we'll get to that. We'll be right back.
Dear Amy and Kenny, I've been divorced twice. It just didn't work out. My current girlfriend told me initially she didn't want to get married, and she didn't need to get married because she didn't want the government telling her what she can and can't do. I like that. Lately, she's been hinting around at getting married, and I've reminded her that she initially said she didn't want to get married, and that's why I decided to go out with her, given my history with those two expensive relationships. We haven't been dating that long. About 1,186 days.
Well, that's oddly specific.
That's like 4 years, isn't it? What is that? I don't know.
Why would you explain that in days? That's weird.
Well, I think he says that just to prove.
Because to make it sound long?
Yeah. Okay. That's a long time. It's got to be 3 or 4 years. Neither one of us has kids. Neither one of us wants kids. We see them as dream killers. Do I need... I can, let me finish. Do I need to marry this broad? Things are great right now. I just know it'll change things. Thanks, Kenny. And he doesn't want me to use his name. Number one, I didn't realize that having kids was the coolest thing on the planet until I had a kid. Even the whole pregnancy, I'm like, oh, this is gonna, is gonna cut into the old, and as soon as he was born, it's like, well, this is what life is all about. I can't believe I waited this long. This is the best thing in the whole world.
I completely agree with you. But I understand why people see it that way.
Yeah.
Because as you look at it from the outside, you're like, all the money, all the time,
right,
all the everything. I mean,
right.
The truth of the matter is, when a child comes into your life, a baby for sure, and a child, your priorities have to shift if you're a well-adjusted adult. Have to shift, and if you're hungry and the child's hungry, they eat first.
Right, always.
If you're tired and they're tired, they sleep first. That's just the way it is.
Yep.
I think that's the universe's way of making us grow up and be better people.
Yeah.
But I can see from the outside for sure that just seems like, I used to call it, when I was in my 20s, I'd be like, I don't want to be part of the, what did I call it? Because this was like the 90s. I don't want to be part of the minivan camcorder people.
Exactly.
No thank you.
Yeah.
But then I had a child, and I would say the exact same thing, Kenny. There's no way to explain it, honestly, that once there's a child in your life, you love them more than anything you can possibly imagine.
And it's some kind of chemical change that you can't deny it. You can't stop it. It just happens.
Right. But this guy's thing is, he was married twice.
Right.
We don't know for how long. How old is he now? Do you know?
Don't know that.
So he was married twice. It didn't work. I get it. Totally get that.
I'm going to assume, in my mind's eye, they're both in their 40s.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so married twice, didn't work. The woman said, I don't want to get married. I don't want the government telling me what to do. I'm not sure how the government gets into your house, but whatever. We can disagree on that.
There are actual advantages to getting married when it comes to the government. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but now she's changing her mind. By the way, with very few exceptions, especially in 40s, that was inevitable.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying women lie. I'm saying I think she meant what she said.
Right.
Initially.
Right.
But now she's like, what am I doing?
Or she's like, turns out this guy's pretty cool. I would actually like to marry this guy.
Right.
But 1,186 days didn't. Let me do the math.
What is he
on
doing?
that.
Hash marks on the inside of his bedroom to keep track? I don't know what that is.
Like when you're in prison.
That's like, yes. If I was the woman, I'd be like, what are you doing?
1,086. What do I go divided by
another one.
365?
Slash mark.
It's three.
There's another one. Slash mark.
It's just over 3 years.
Oh, that's so hard.
My advice is never, ever get married. Don't get married. And if she forces the issue, the relationship isn't going to work. There's no reason to get married unless it's for, like we said, tax purposes or religious purposes. If
Agreed.
you're both heavily involved in the church and you believe in all that, then go ahead and do it. But if you're a Catholic, just ask for forgiveness or
Right.
send them some money or something and you'll be good.
Sadly, this disqualifies me, and you've already disqualified yourself. But I agree. I don't, honestly, for myself, I'm going to speak for myself. Why on planet Earth would I get married to someone who will then move into my house or me into theirs?
Yeah.
And then I have to live my life around them.
Yeah.
Now, for a child, that's different. I feel
Right.
like that's different.
Totally.
But for another human being, what's the advantage to me?
Amy, I'll take it even further, and I would say maintain separate residences.
I totally agree.
Even if you live and sin together, just keep that other place. Just keep it.
Okay, I'm going to say something maybe controversial. I
Nah.
don't think God cares.
Really?
Where you live or who you live with or who you have. I don't. I think God has bigger fish to fry. Read the news. I don't think God cares whether you're fornicating outside of marriage, because if that were true, most of us would go to hell.
Okay,
Which I also don't believe in.
If we're going to be controversial here, I want to talk about gay marriage.
Oh, okay.
Number one, it should never have been illegal. Okay, no. I agree on that. Number two, though, and most importantly, why do you want to get married?
I know.
What is wrong with you? What
Right?
the hell?
But here's
You've
the
got
thing.
it so good.
It's so true, and I agree with you. But that you're absolutely right about that, huh? But the other thing is, when people were opposing it, the big thing was, no, we have to protect the sanctity of marriage. Are you serious?
Are you kidding me with that?
50% divorce rate and tons of cheating, and we think it's sanctified?
I've always tried, well,
No.
not always, but as of late, in the last 20 years, I've tried to be empathetic and put myself in their position. And I always thought if I was a gay dude, I would use the fact that getting married is illegal is a good reason why we can't get married. Sorry, it's illegal. Can't do it. It's out of my hands.
If the law were
Can't
different,
do
I
it.
would feel differently.
Yeah.
But
And then they go and change the law, and now you got to get married.
Now you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right. So we solved that. Don't get
Yeah,
married.
well, what do we tell them? Yeah, just
don't-
stand by your guns and don't get married. It
Don't
will
get
change
married.
things. P.S.
Yeah. Enjoy your life.
Kenny,
keep
right?
separate. Yeah. Huh?
You get married, it's going to be different.
For
sure.
Oh my God. Yeah. No,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
it's awful.
I wished it wasn't going to change, but it does.
And then this other one from Josh has nothing to do with marriage. And I don't think I can help you, Josh. He writes, drives semi while running my 594-mile daily route.
Wow.
I deal with impatient drivers that pass me in no passing zones, ride the trailer's bumper, or pass me, then cut in front of me with less than a car's length of space between the bumpers. Can you help me get the word out to these? And my answer to you, Josh, is no, I can't help. That's the way it's going to be, and it'll never change, and it'll only get worse.
I cannot believe that Josh brought this up. On my way down the hall to do this podcast,
Yeah.
I drive 36. I live in Stillwater. So I drive from St. Paul to Stillwater and back every day.
Yep.
It's worse, though, Kenny. I don't know what happened during the pandemic, but if I drive on 36, and I'm a driver that goes like, I don't know, 5 to 7, 8, maybe 10 miles over the speed limit.
Yeah, like most of us.
You know.
Yeah.
But it does not matter. Josh, I feel you. It does not matter how fast I drive. I will have, and I'm sorry, but it's inevitably, I look in my mirror and it's a big ass truck
Yeah.
whose
Always.
grill is taking up my entire rearview mirror.
Yeah.
And so I will move over. I'll move over into the right lane, like, go, just fine, go. But you cannot drive fast enough anymore.
Yeah. No.
Josh, I get you.
Yeah.
But don't you think it's gotten worse?
When I'm down there for work and I stay overnight, I stay in Roseville. So the only freeway I have is southbound 280, and it's 5:15 in the morning, and 75 miles an hour on southbound 280 is not fast enough to keep up with traffic.
That's insane.
That is, yeah.
Because if you know that, if you know 280, there's a part where it gets there's a really steep right-hand curve.
It's dangerous.
I was just doing it this morning, and I was like, some guy was behind me I was going 60. It's rated at 50, and the guy was going like 75.
Yeah.
On a, I swear, a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you insane?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And the on ramps are short and the exit ramps are short. And I sit there doing 75 in the right lane, cowering, afraid for my life.
I know.
Going 75.
I know, Josh. I wish we could help you, but it's just, and we're back to our theme, which is we should all be living our lives, and that's what Kenny and I believe. We should all be living our lives dedicated to identifying and avoiding assholes.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
And we're going to get to some of the a-holes, and it's all about lending money to your friends, okay?
Oh, good.
Okay, we'll do that next.
All right, day one, we're open for business. The first car pulls up to the drive-through window, ready for us to solve their personal problems, and this is the problem we've been dealt.
The problem is lending money to friends, okay?
All right.
Here's what happens. This has happened to me recently. However, and if you're familiar with the Reddit thread, Am I the Asshole? There's a lot of universal questions posed in there, and I just happen to be skimming through them, and one of them came up. I'm just going to read this, and then I'll get your take on it, Kenny, and then I'll give you mine, okay?
All right. All right.
It says, I, 30-year-old male, and my close friend, we'll call Jake, 29, have been close for years. Over the years, I've lent Jake money so many times. I'm talking $50 here for gas, $100 there during a trip, even once $300 when he needed to buy an emergency PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Okay. Says I never really kept track because I trusted him. He paid me back some of it over time, but he still owes me a lot. A few weeks ago, Jake covered my $60 when I left my wallet at home during a group dinner. I told him I'd get it back to him, but life got busy. I totally forgot. So Jake reaches out because the guy didn't send him any money right away. He said, look, I want that $60 that you owe me, and you never paid me back.
Oh.
So he starts sort of like throughout this email, the guy is like kind of dogging the guy that has lent him all this money, but now owes him $60 and didn't get it right back to him. So the poster, the original poster says, look, I get that I owe you $60 and I'll pay you back, but let's not pretend this is a one-sided thing. You still owe me hundreds of dollars.
Wow.
And I've never hounded you about it. Jake, he concludes with, Jake didn't take that well. He said, it's not the same thing because I never asked for my money back. Am I the asshole? Jake.
The problem,
Well, first of all, Jake can't do math, right?
Yeah, Jake is the one who wrote the piece, right?
Yeah. No, the original poster doesn't give his name. Jake is the friend.
Oh.
That keeps borrowing money for his emergency PlayStation 5.
Okay.
And still owes the guy hundreds and hundreds. Then the original poster borrowed 60, and now Jake is dogging him for the 60.
Yeah, Jake is the asshole.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And I can even go further and tell him how to deal with this.
Yeah.
It's really simple. You pay him the $60 and you never talk to him again.
Totally.
Ever. He's gone.
And here's the thing, at least that I do, I don't lend money to people that I can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
Right? But then I expect sort of a reasonable effort to pay me back. I'm not going to dog you for it. I'm not. Because I feel like if I lent you XYZ amount of money, I can afford to lose it. I'm willing to accept that. But what I want in return, if you're my friend, is a good faith effort to pay me back, right?
Have you ever loaned somebody money?
Recently, yes.
Did you get it back?
Not yet.
Tell me who it is.
Nope, I'm not going to tell you who it is. But,
I'll crush their knees for you.
I got a guy. The person told me they bought a very expensive thing.
With the money you gave them?
No, after
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
After that. So this one's near and dear to my heart. But then here's like another one very similar to that one, but a little bit different. This guy says he's been friends with somebody for 15 years that he's calling Paul. A couple years ago, Paul was struggling with money due to his hours being cut. Asked if he could borrow $50 to get him through payday as a one-off. So the friend lent him the $50. However, he then started asking for $50 to $100 every month.
Oh.
And after 4 months, I said no, since I had my own things to pay for. Fast forward to yesterday, according to the original poster, I get a message from Paul asking me if I can lend him $60 because money is again tight. But now he works full time. He has a similar salary to the original poster and is in a relationship. So this person, I think it's a guy, says he's not going to lend him the money. He may be a friend. It's a relatively small amount, but he's probably living beyond his means and he's not going to lend him the money. And he's asking, am I the asshole?
Yeah, he is, because he's lent him money in the past. You need to stop that and stop being honest, by the way. Just tell him, look, I took a pay cut at work. I've got some extra bills coming in. I'm already supporting a couple of kids from illegitimate, just make up anything and lie and get yourself off the hook so that person will never ask you again. It's really easy. Well, if you just lie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I take a slightly different tact, but lying is certainly an option. I feel like you made the mistake initially in giving him $50 every month.
Right.
Although I remember a friend long, long ago who kept running into money problems every, 6 months and never seemed to keep track of like what the amount was that I was giving the person.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of with you, Kenny, in that like, I don't know. But here's the thing. When I read both of these, I was like, these aren't good friends.
No.
In neither case are these people you want in your life.
What about the small amounts of money? Like you go down to lunch down at the cafeteria and you realize, let's see, who are you down there with? You're down there with Kyle.
Yep.
And Kyle conveniently left his wallet up at his desk and you pay for lunch. Do you expect Kyle to pay you back?
No. I really don't care about that kind of stuff at all.
Because he's not going to.
What
if it happens every day?
Well, that's different. But I feel like in the end, if I lend somebody $10 to pay for their lunch, that it's going to come out in the wash. I don't care.
Okay. Boy.
I really don't. But when it comes to
that.
somebody comes to you and says, especially people who, hold it, you have a job, I have a job. We make about the same money. Why do you keep coming to me, repeat it, not once, but like repeatedly for money? That seems like a you problem.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's the person. Yeah, I think exactly. It's the person that made the mistake of initially lending him the money.
Well, and especially if your friend has to buy an emergency PS5.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's funny.
come on.
That is funny. I like the way that was worded.
What
about this though,
PS5.
Amy? You go to Vegas for 4 days. You put it on your credit card. You're going with a friend or two friends. Those two friends never pay you back. You've got a $900 hotel bill on your credit card.
No, that's a big problem.
Whose fault is it?
And by the way, P.S., I fall for this stuff all the time. I mean, most of the time I get my money back, but I'm just like I don't know if I'm naive or what my problem is.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that because that's going to lead. I can't believe you just said that.
Is this going to lead into your theory?
About who you are.
Oh, great.
I've discovered who you are.
Okay.
You just gave me.
Please tell me, because I need to know. I need to fix my life.
Do we have enough breaks in? Can we go straight into it or should we break?
We can break. Let's break.
We can break? Okay, we'll be right back. So I figured it out, Amy.
Okay.
Number one, Amy Daniels, that sounds like a made up name to me. I don't think I've ever talked to you about this, but I'm pretty sure you're not Amy Daniels. You're probably like, Gladys
turnbuckle.
But yeah, something like that. And I know you had a program director in the past, what Rat Fink or whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah. Pig Vomit.
Pig Vomit. He wanted you to be Elaine from Seinfeld.
From Seinfeld. You're melding two PDs, but that's okay.
I put it together.
My name was not Amy Daniels originally, but when I got into radio originally, there used to be a thing, kids, called the phone book. And you could look up anyone in the phone book. It was a big book with everybody's phone number in it.
Yeah.
And if you were a woman in radio back in the day, you really didn't want your legal name to be on the air.
I think it's still the same way.
I'm sure
if you
it
ask
is.
me.
I'm sure it is. So that is actually a family name. It's my grandma's maiden name, Daniels. But my name is Amy.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, not Gladys.
I was unlisted.
You were?
Yeah, and then I would change if too many people, I'm talking landlines here, if too many people knew my phone number, I would just change my number.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I realized it on Sunday. You are Liz Lemon from 30 Rock.
Super, super, super neurotic.
So I started watching, I need something to take my mind off everything. So I went to season 1, episode 1.
Such a great show.
Amy, you're single, you're lonely, you're extremely awkward. The only thing that really makes you truly happy is eating. There's always food on your shirt and in your hair. And you're the only adult in a group of grown children with serious issues. You once called them children with checkbooks.
Yep. That's
You're
my
Liz Lemon.
stuff. Right.
If you're a listener to Crabby Coffee Shop and you want to know who the hell is this gal, just watch 30 Rock.
I actually kind of love that. I love that you think that. I would say all of what you said is true, except I'm not lonely. I think we established that earlier. Like, I don't know.
Who's your boyfriend?
I don't need one.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Penny.
That's what neurotic,
Penny,
lonely women say.
You're the same guy who 20 minutes ago said live apart, don't talk to each other, and you're telling me I need a boyfriend.
I don't know. I'm not saying you need a boyfriend, but, it wouldn't hurt to hook up every now and then.
Oh, that is so none of your business. Wow. You all can take marriage advice from this dude, but I'm telling you right now.
I can make this worse.
Yeah.
Amy. I can make this worse.
Okay, so I'm Liz Lemon.
On season 1, and this is going to make our relationship weird.
Okay, God.
On season 1, episode 6, we were introduced to her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Dennis, who he himself is a disaster. And
That's right. What was his deal?
He was the beeper king because he had the only pager store in New York City.
Long after pagers were gone.
Right. On episode 7, for the very first time, Dennis calls Liz, and he addresses her like this from this point on. He calls her Dummy. Hi, Dummy. How you doing?
Oh, wow. I don't remember. Why?
I don't know. It doesn't make any difference why. What makes the difference is I call you and
Dummy,
virtually everybody I know Dummy.
You do. But what in this show, remind me, how does she respond to that?
Just the same way you do, perplexed.
Right.
She never responds at all. She just gives him a look like, what the hell?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Well, here's the deal. Why you don't have a boyfriend? You just answered it. Because I have dated the Beeper King many, many times
so
in
you
different forms.
You don't think it's the eggs you have on your shirt right there that I can see from here right now?
You're insane. We're on YouTube. People can tell you're making that up. I'm not to say I don't have food on my clothes, because that is true. Because I cannot, and I'm going to blame ADHD. I cannot get through a day without spazzing for no reason.
Yes.
And spilling on myself.
Yes.
I cannot do it.
Yes.
One time I spilled my coffee. It was lukewarm, I want to add, on my cat's head. My white cat's head.
When I see you, it reminds me of seeing a baseball player that last inning slid into home plate face first.
I'm Pigpen.
You're covered with just random food.
I'm Pigpen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a dirty cloud over me, and I'm falling all the time. I'm spilling all the time, and clearly can't keep a boyfriend.
So when 30 Rock was on, did you watch it?
I love that show.
Did it occur to you that Liz Lemon was based on you?
You know what? Funny you should say that, because because Liz Lemon in the show, if anybody hasn't seen it, and if you haven't, run and watch it.
Oh, you have to.
But she is sort of the executive producer, I guess, of a show like Saturday Night Live,
right,
where she's surrounded by all these crazy personalities.
Right.
And she's sort of the neurotic center of it.
Right.
And is always trying to get them to do stuff.
Yes.
And that is my life at My Talk. For
Totally.
sure. I'm the if you don't know, I'm the program director for a radio station in town called My Talk. But they are. I am surrounded by people who I just like come in my office and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why is this my job?
Your down and dirty thing.
Yeah.
Everybody, whenever you announce it, everybody on the staff says, nope. Not doing it. And somehow, I don't know how, you convince these people to do it.
For
and they
14
end up doing
straight
it.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we make them go live together and broadcast together and raise money together for 3 days.
It's the worst thing in the whole world, Amy. It's horrible. It's the worst idea I've ever heard.
You're the same guy who leaves his home in the morning so he doesn't have to talk to his wife. Putting you in a building with 11 other people is like your nightmare. But you're not wrong. I actually, when I've watched that show, and I do love 30 Rock, it's so good. I can see it. I can see it. I wish I looked like her. She's adorable. And she is hilarious. But just the managing of all those personalities, yes, I do absolutely get that.
I forgot how much I really enjoyed that show. And it's so fun to watch it. To watch like 3 or 4 episodes in a row with no commercials at all.
You know what? I'm going to start watching that again. It is, and it's also kind of a view, I think, behind the scenes, fictionally, of course, to show business and some of these stupid things that go on behind the scenes. I'll never forget the one thing that sticks in my mind for no good reason is who's the blonde main star of the Saturday Night Live? Like Jane Krakowski is the actress.
Yeah.
But at one point, she's trying to get her big break to be in movies.
Yeah.
And she ends up being in a movie called The Rural Juror. The Rural Juror. Because it's impossible to say. The Rural Juror.
Yeah.
She wants to be in the life story of Janis Joplin.
Yeah.
But they keep putting it off. They can't make it because they can't get rights to the songs or whatever the deal is. But
and
Tracy Morgan's hilarious.
Oh, when you watch this, people, I'm sure they think, well, this is over the top. People like this do not exist. Yes, they do.
Well, yeah. And in radio, you've got sort of the cheaper version of stars. You know, you got the low-rend version of celebrities.
The Kmarts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm including myself in that category, by the way. I'm sorry. We're just not that big a deal. And then when you get, like, lip from them, you're like, what are you doing? You have the easiest job in the world.
Oh, without a doubt.
And you're giving me guff. Go do your job.
It's not the real world.
No.
And the scenes in the writer's room where they're always having absurd conversations reminds me of one time, and maybe I've brought this up with you before on the air, I don't remember, where I needed, for a traffic report, I needed a whole bunch of funny names for women's private parts.
Okay.
And I walked down to My Talk. I sat down in the break room with a bunch of gals, and they all gave me funny names for their private parts, which I think if we had done that in a regular company, we'd all be fired. Just instantly.
We had a conversation with Jason Matheson, who does our morning show. And Kenny, you know Jason.
Yeah.
It was Jason, me, Alexis, who also does the morning show, and someone else. And we legitimately had a serious conversation about asking Jason when a guy sits down, because like we never got to answer this for ourselves before. Like, do you have to pull your private parts out of the way? Do they get underneath?
Yeah.
Do they get stuck sometimes?
Yeah. Yes.
And he legitimately tried to answer those questions for us.
Yeah.
There is no place on the planet Earth that you can have that conversation.
No.
In corporate America.
Not even with your wife.
No. Well, certainly not in a workplace without ending up in HR and with a box walking out the door. So when you sit down, where does your wiener go? That's not something you can say.
That's such a novelty name for it. Don't say it.
What do you want me to call it?
Well, I call mine Mr. Melancholy.
Okay. I'm uncomfortable with it. All right, we're going to wrap it up for this week. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
I think we've established that we're life coaches whose work is dedicated to identifying and avoiding a-holes.
I think we're good at this.
And we can fix that for you.
Yeah.
Okay. See you next week.